Um, my name is Adrian David Shiok, and I'm with my very good friend and a colleague, Dr. Sharif. And this is a series of podcasts where I will tell for the first time the true story that I suffered of parental alienation, but from my daughter named Kotoko. And she was alienated from me by her mother and also my mother and my whole family. So I'll tell the whole story. And Dr. Sharif knows very well the story because he knew he knew Kotoko for many years when she was with me, and he also I think was the first person to know when the tragedy happened and she left. And he tried very hard to get in contact with Kotoko, but she refused to contact him and blocked him, and I think also blocked his wife, right, Sharif? Dr. Sharif.
Yeah, yes, yeah,
So I think for this podcast, we'll try to keep it to 1 hour or less. Uh, so I think I'll go to the beginning. Beginnings of the story, really. And anyway, so I married a Japanese woman named Midori Hachiya, and actually, she was my third wife. I was married before that two times, and I was actually having a relationship with Midori while I was still married to my second wife. So the reason I wanted to say this is because later on you'll hear that Midori hypocritically said, I have a mistress, I have an affair. But actually, Midori herself was a mistress and an affair. So it's very hypocritical that she says about another woman being mistress because she herself was a mistress, and I broke up my second marriage to marry her. Anyway, that's the very beginning. Let's jump a few years later. Uh, we had two children. First daughter was called Kotoko, and second daughter was called Makoto. And anyway, so I was working as a professor at the University of London, and by the way, Dr. Sharif, if you want to anytime jump in if you have any question or you want to comment, just jump in,
yeah,
okay? Yeah.
yeah, sure,
Anyway,
sure.
so we were in London because I was a professor at University of London, and I think this is where the real troubles really started. Midori was a very typical Japanese lady, not very educated. She only went to like a 2-year college for like childcare or something. And she just didn't appreciate how wonderful London is, UK. She had no interest. And there's so many palaces, museums, science museum, greatest science museum in the world, Victoria and Albert Museum. She had no interest. And I think it's because she's really typical Japanese and she's only interested in Japanese things. And I have a memory when I was living in Japan with Midori. I went to all of the Japanese festivals, like New Year's festival and all these, like all the gods, different festivals. I went to everything. And when we were in London, there was, I'm Greek Orthodox. and Greek Orthodox, and Easter is very special for us. And I remember I I was with my mother visited us that time, and I asked Maduro, will you come to the church tomorrow for Easter? Because it's a very special celebration. And she refused to come, even though it was just 5 minutes drive away. She refused to come. And this just shows that, I attended all of her Japanese festivals and ceremonies, and she had no interest in mine at all. And by the way, I just mentioned that my mother was there. She visited us in London for, I think, 1 month or 6 weeks. And now I realize that my mother was always causing trouble between me and Midori. For example, she would say things like, "Oh, Midori didn't clean properly the sink, or didn't clean properly the toilet or something." And then I would have a big fight with Midori. And what I realize now is my mother was a real busybody and complaining about Midori, and this led to fights with me and Midori. So I actually blame my mother as much as Midori for what happened later on. You will hear the story. Of course, Dr. Shrift, you know the story. Uh, but the viewers will hear later what is the story. And uh, anyway, back to the story. So I was a professor at University of London, and every Saturday, Sunday, I would take out Kotoko to palaces, museums. In fact, we saw every palace in London. We visited every palace in London. We visited the museums, Westminster Abbey, everything, Sharif. I took her to the West End musicals. I took Kotoko and her sister Makoto everywhere. I don't think many fathers spend so much time and energy on their kids, and I used to take them out every weekend. And one thing, Dr. Sharif, is Midori refused to come. She had no interest, and she refused to come. So she would stay home on the weekends or maybe see her Japanese friends. The only thing she was interested in was Japanese things. Anyway, when my mother came, she caused a lot of trouble, I told you just now. And we had these big fights. And Midori, one week, she suddenly left the house with the car, and she spent 1 week in the car park of the supermarket, which is really strange. This shows her character is very strange. So I was looking after Kotoko and Makoto for 1 week, and Midori was in the car park, and I knew where she was because I could see her location on my phone, the iPhone. And one time we went to see her in the car park, and immediately she drove the car away, even though I was with my two daughters, Kotoko and Makoto. She she couldn't care less. She just left, drove off very fast. And I think this shows what kind of mother she is. What kind of mother she is. I mean, what mother, Sharif, would go away for 1 week in the car park, and then when we visit her in the car park, uh, she just uh, she just drove off.
Mhm.
Anyway, shortly after that, we were fighting a lot. Midori was always fighting with me, and I was fighting with her. We had, just terrible times. And she left to Japan with my younger daughter Makoto, and she left Kotoko at this in London. This was the first time she left. Anyway, so after that, I still treated Kotoko so well. I I think the next month I took Kotoko to Cyprus for a holiday. We stayed at beautiful resort, very expensive resort at the beach. Every day Kotoko was swimming and having a great time. And I did everything for Kotoko. You know, we would spend all day swimming and doing all the kids' things. And then we went to see the famous monuments in Cyprus, the ancient monuments. So I took Kotoko, had wonderful or dinners together, whatever she wanted. You know, I treated her like a princess, uh, like a princess, Sharif. And after we went to Greece, and because I'm half Greek, and we stayed with my family, we stayed with my uncle, aunties, and we had a great time. You know, Kotoko, she was about 6 or 7 years old then, and she had a great time. I took her everywhere, all over Greece, all the beaches, the monuments, the Parthenon, all the great sites. Everywhere I took her, Sharif, 6 and 7 years old to, first of all, I told you I took her everywhere in London, right? And treated her like a princess. And then after Midori left and went back to Japan, I also took her to Cyprus, to Greece, and we went to other countries like Belgium and other France. You know, she was treated like absolute princess, you know. I think you'll agree she was very lucky, right? Very lucky girl, Sharif. Unbelievably lucky girl. Anyway, after the University of London, I had a new job in Malaysia. I was director of the Imagineering Institute, and I thought, for Kotoko's sake, maybe it'd be good if Midori comes back. So I said to Midori, Can you come to Malaysia? We can all stay together." So she came back, and I want to say that she stayed maybe, I think it was less than 6 months, and it was a very similar thing. She had no interest in Malaysia things, Malaysian culture, just Japanese culture. She had only Japanese friends. Anyway, one day, the last day of school for Kotoko before the winter holidays, Christmas holidays, I went to Kotoko school because they had a Christmas show. And I was looking for Midori. I couldn't see her anywhere. And we got back home, and then very quickly I realized Midori had left because her suitcase was gone. She had packed some of her clothes, and she had left. She left without telling me anything. She left with my younger daughter. And one thing I want to tell you is she left Kotoko at the school. And again, what kind of mother would leave the daughter at the school and run away to Japan? Anyway, we uh, we called up the grandmother because I had the phone number of the grandmother in Japan. Every day we called her, sometimes twice a day, and we asked her, "Where is Midori?" And the grandmother said, "Oh, I don't know where is Midori. I haven't heard from her. I have no idea where she is." Actually, the truth is, Midori was living with the grandmother, and the grandmother was lying to me, but more importantly, she was lying to me, to Kotoko. How can a grandmother and mother lie to their own daughter that they don't know where is the mother. And you know what? How can Midori refuse to speak to her own daughter, which is Kotoko? This is unbelievable. Anyway, after that, Kotoko was going to a British school in Malaysia called Marlborough College, and she didn't want to go to school. Uh, so because I was traveling a lot for keynote speeches all around the world, she said she wants to come with me. And me being a very like I'd do anything, whatever Kotoko wants. I said, yeah, fine. So I searched high and I searched low for options, and we found a school in USA called Laurel Springs Gifted and Talented Academy. And the cost of this, Sharif, was 25,000 or 30,000 US dollars a year. It was really expensive, right? Uh, and after like I just want to say now, but after you'll find out that they said to the police and they said to the lawyer that I was committing child abuse by sending Kotoko to a online school. How ridiculous. If I wanted to commit child abuse, why would I pay $30,000, right? And it's ridiculous, right? Right, Sharif? And they made it sound like I was putting Kotoko in a dungeon and locking the key, and she uh going to online school and she has no friends. Actually, she had lots of friends. She had a really good friend, Carly. Almost every day they would play together. They would go swimming, go to the swimming pool, go to the cinema. I would take them to see movies. Uh, and then later on they made it sound like I didn't let Kotoko have any friends and going to online school was child abuse. Actually, I sent her to the online school because she didn't want to go to the Marlborough College anymore. Anyway, Sharif, after this, Kotoko flew with me almost every 1 or 2 weeks. We went somewhere because I was giving a keynote speech and I was invited all over the world. This was before the pandemic, so I traveled a lot before the pandemic. We went everywhere: Europe, UK, USA, uh, you know, Korea, Hong Kong, and everywhere we went, I took Kotoko. And not only did I do my keynote speeches, Sharif, but I would take Kotoko to all the famous sites. For example, in New York City, I took it to the Statue of Liberty. I took it to the Empire State Building. I took it to the Brooklyn Bridge. I took it to the Trump Tower, Central Park. I would treat her like a princess. Everywhere in the world, she went everywhere. It's just an example. And you've seen the photos, right, Sharif? You've seen the photos. You've seen the photos, right? Of me and Kotoko traveling all around the world. And you know what, Sharif? Every flight she flew was in the business class, right? Even when she's 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, right up to when she was 16, when she backstabbed me. Everywhere she flew was on business class. You know how much money that cost me, Sharif? A lot of money, right? She just didn't know how. I mean, she knew how well she was being treated, and how could she stab me in the back, you know? Uh, anyway, so and then her mother, like I said, first of all, the pretended that the grandmother said was lying to us and said she didn't know where is Midori. But Midori was staying with the grandmother. And then Midori also never spoke on the phone with Kotoko, even though she was right there. Anyway, later on, we were flying to Tokyo and and I needed to get Kotoko's Japan. Actually, I didn't need to get it, but I stupidly went to get Kotoko's Japanese passport, and they insisted I get the mother's signature. And I found out then that Midori had not put me on the birth certificate of Kotoko. Why? I have no idea. When Koto was born, Midori did not put me on the birth certificate. So when I wanted to get the passport, I needed her signature. So we were in Japan. I went to the grandmother's house, and the grandmother was saying, "Oh, she'd never heard from Midori, doesn't know where she is." When we knocked on the door, guess who answers the door? My daughter, my second daughter, Makoto. So they were lying for all that time, nearly 1 year. They were lying, saying they don't know where is Midori, but she was actually staying with her mother. All right. Anyway, I said, look, I need the signature for Koto's passport. And at that time, Midori, she blackmailed me. She said, you got to pay me 400,000 yen. It's about 40,000 US dollars. She said, you got, if you pay me this money, sign the form. That just shows you what kind of person she is, Sharif, right? Blackmailing me, right? I paid the money, and then she signed the form, and I got Kotoko's passport. So after that, Midori never talked to Kotoko for nearly 10 years. And sometimes on her birthday, she would send an email, maybe 2 or 3 lines, just saying happy birthday. And no, it didn't say I love you or anything, right? Just say happy birthday. Uh, just 2 or 3 lines. All those 10 years, I was looking after Kotoko by myself. Apart from all the traveling everywhere, Sharif, in business class, and I took her all over the world. But when we were in Malaysia, every day I would take Kotoko, for example, to her friend's house, Carly, and other friends. They would go swimming or go to the cinema. And also, I took her every day to boxing class. She had really good friends in the boxing. There was one girl, a little bit younger than her. They were great friends. Every day we took her to boxing class. I took her to archery. I took her to horse riding. I mean, how many kids are sure if the fathers will take them to all of these activities, right? And she had friends in the boxing. She had Carly, her friend, and other friends from the school. And later on, they said that I didn't let her meet her friends, and she had no friends. They were totally bullshitting, right? To the police, right? But the true story is she was seeing her friends all the time, and also I was driving her around everywhere to do her sports, boxing, and everything. Anyway, so do you agree, Sharif, that she was treated like a princess, right? So absolutely treated like a princess. I mean, I don't think there's many girls in the world had so many experiences around the world, and every day I was taking her to sports and activities and seeing her friends, going to cinema, etc. Anyway, so uh, after a few years, I was always looking after Kotoko, but sometimes I started to have a relationship with one of my former students. Actually, she wasn't my student. She just went to the same university in Singapore, and we met. And I would see her now and again, and she was also working in my lab. But I never put her in front of Kotoko. Always 95% I would spend my time with, or not, maybe 99% I would spend my time with Kotoko, right? But yes, I had this relationship with this uh, one of my former students called Emma, and we had two babies. One was a boy, one was a girl, Nicola and Angelina. And anyway, as you know, in 2020 there was the pandemic, right? And during the pandemic there was lockdowns, right? Uh, and so in Malaysia there was lockdowns, and Emma, uh, and me and all of us we went to America for th 3 months to visit Senator Fraser Anning. Senator Fraser Anning is an Australian senator, and when I ran for the Parliament in Australia, he was our leader. And he's a great friend of mine. And we stayed 3 months in America, and again, Sharif, I took Kotoko everywhere: Los Angeles, Hollywood, Grand Canyon, Hoover Dam, uh, Las Vegas. Death Valley, everywhere I took her, and she saw all the great sights in America, right? Again, how lucky she was, right? Uh, and yes, Emma was with us, but I always put Kotoko first. 99% she was first, right? Anyway, it was a pandemic, and I had a job as a professor in Japan, but Japan also had the border closure, so no one could enter Japan except for Japanese people. So after America, we had no choice. We went to Australia, and I think Sharif, you used to call me every day in Australia. Do you remember? You used to call me every day, and it was great that you called me. You remember it was during the pandemic 2020. Uh, anyway, of course, during the pandemic, we didn't go out because there was lockdowns, and and also I was very scared of catching coronavirus, and I wanted to uh, protect everyone from coronavirus. So of course, during the pandemic, we didn't go out as much, but still, I remember every week we used to go to see my PhD supervisor. We had dinner at his house. Sometimes we would go walking and pick lemons. So it wasn't like no activity. My supervisor has a daughter who is a little bit younger than Kotoko, and they used to speak together. They were friends. And I also had another friend called Paul, and he had a daughter a little bit older than Kotoko, and also they would see each other. So yes, of course, during the pandemic, we didn't go out as much like before. We used to go every day before the pandemic. But during the pandemic, maybe once a week we would go out. So, but that was because of the coronavirus, and I was very scared of coronavirus. I wanted to protect me and Kotoko, and Kotoko also was scared. Well, I thought she was scared, but later on she lied to the police. She said, I was like what do you call it? Like forcing her to stay at home. Ridiculous things. So, Sharif, do you think we should end it here, and then maybe the next part I will tell you what happened in Japan, how Kotoko backstabbed me, her mother backstabbed me, my mother backstabbed me, my whole family backstabbed me. It was one of the biggest tragedies of all time, Shakespearean level tragedy. But it's probably a good time to stop this first part here, and then next
Yeah,
time I'll tell you about the details of what happened when we went to Japan and Kotoko backstabbed me.
sure, Professor. I think it will be very interesting for our audience to understand human relationship. Even you are genius. You have all of the resources and all of the beautiful life, and you are top scientist in the world. But still, you have tragedy. From there, your students and our audience can learn how to survive, how to go to the next level. Thank you
Yes,
for today.
definitely. So next time we'll go through the details of the tragedy in Japan, what happened, and we'll talk about that. Maybe tomorrow,
Sure.
or let's see how we go with the time. But anyway, I want to thank you, Dr. Shrew, for being there with me all these years. You've been a lifeline. You've been comforting to me, and you tried to help me when the tragedy happened in Japan and Kotoko backstabbed me. You tried to help me. I want to thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Adrian.
All right.
Thank you.
So we'll see
Thank
you for
you.
part two next time. Thank you.
Sure. Sure.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.